for every one of us.
Sure, sir. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Empowering Students in School for a Powerful Ownership and Citizenship in the Future. I'm your host, Kritika, and today we are dividing into a very important topic: how schools can empower students to take real ownership of their learning and grow into responsible, active citizens of tomorrow. To help us explore this, we have an inspiring education leader with us, Mr. Gunendra Mishra, principal of Isher School, Faridabad. Over the years, he has worn many hats: physics teacher, founder principal, CBSE resource person, national mentor, author, motivational speaker. And through it all, he has passionately believed in the philosophy of teaching by doing. Mr. Mishra, it's an absolute pleasure to have you in this podcast. Welcome to the podcast, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Kritika, for such a warm, full welcome and introduction. I'm really honored.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir, this podcast is really important for us to understand your journey and your overall experience, and I mean your throughout the development through this teaching role or a principal role or as a founder also. So we also want to understand your journey and vision. You have had such a fantastic journey from teaching physics in classroom to leading schools across India. So could you take us back to the start when set you on this path of shaping young lives?
It's always a journey. Whenever I narrate, I go little nostalgic. I started it long back from a very rural background and not as much resourceful as currently the children are in current scenario. But yes, my father was resourceful enough, and mother was having enough laad pyar and mamta to cater to all the needs of that time. And then because of the family, lovely family, having two more brothers and two sisters, so five, we got a lot of socio emotional environment by default, which generally goes missing when there's a nuclear family, and because of some reason or the other, suppose one child only and one mother, obviously parents. So that way, and then the village environment where there's a lot of struggle for resources, that helped me continuously to thrive for and strive for and valuing things, whatever used to come, that used to come very difficult way. It was never easy going. So that value system got nurtured. Then when I went to schools, I still remember I used to go around 10 kilometer bicycle, by using bicycle up, and 10 kilometer down, and sometimes on foot as well. So those were the time when I started learning, unlearning, falling in love with the nature, the environment, people, society, struggle. And then slowly the journey went to the metropolitan cities. Banaras Hindu University was the milestone in my life, where I pursued my masters in physics and went on scoring gold medal. And yes, shifted myself to Delhi, where I was aspiring for IAS examination, which generally happens in that part of the world from where I belong, Jaunpur, Azamgarh, Varanasi. People are very fond of thinking of cracking civil services examination. So I was not an exception. थोड़ा पढ़ने में अच्छा था, तो पेरेंट्स भी सपने देखने लगते हैं. So they supported me कि हाँ हाँ जाओ. I came here, I qualified for prelim as well, but then somehow down the line, the destiny was something else. My father lost his eyesight. So ultimately, he said that no more money, no more support. It's important that you become now independent. What I generally, tell my teachers and students nowadays, that we are supposed to be creating independent learners and independent thinkers. So again, this came as it was an incident, unfortunate incident, but then again, it came as a learning in my life that we should be independent in terms of earning and learning. लर्निंग कंटिन्यूज थ्रू आउट द लाइफ, बट देन पैसे ले लेके दूसरे से कब तक हम लर्न करते रहेंगे? So that was the time when I have to take decision that should I continue to prepare one more year, or I should now switch to some other career where I'm capable of. So then I decided, no, I think teaching is something which drives me, which makes me very joyful. I feel very elated, passionate when I teach someone, even today. So I chose this career, and today, whatever I am, uh, I'm very fortunate and very thankful to the God and the Almighty that I am very happy and very passionate still about my job, my work, and I love it thoroughly, what I do. Thank you.
I should say that that's such a powerful journey. It really shows how teaching can transform not just students but also teachers themselves.
Thank you.
So, Dr. Gunendra, at what point did you realize that students don't just need guidance, but also the space take ownership of their own learning and future?
Okay, I'm not doctor, so um, you can call me Mr. Gunendra, and it is ISER. The correct name is ISER Public School. So, yeah. So, what was your question?
My question was, at what point did you realize that students don't just need guidance, but also the space to take ownership of their own learning and future?
To be very honest, when I started my teaching back in 1996, my first school was APJ Noida. And I remember those days when I used to, teach physics in English, because public schools generally demand language, and public schools may English is the language. But my background was all Hindi. So again, I met with a very difficult time. I was knowing a lot of physics, but I could have been a good physics teacher at that time if I could have been allowed to teach in Hindi. But then APJ people, they didn't realize that asking me to teach in English, they are not only killing my spirit, my passion of teaching physics. Somehow they are, putting me a burden that पहले मैं English पढ़ लूं, बाद में physics पढ़ाऊंगा. So that is how I started realizing this is really something being forced. System is trying to force you to do something first in order to come up with doing something else. But then I started learning English, but at the same time I started teaching physics. There I realized that the whole system where we are working, what we define today as a school, that is having a grassroots level loophole. We are actually nurturing how to follow, not how to lead. We are trying to make a curriculum, and strictly we are making a curriculum and trying to strictly obey it, that how certain people are supposed to be saying yes sir, yes ma'am, yes sir, yes ma'am, and certain people who define themselves as a sir or ma'am, they keep giving him thumbs up. Yes, you are doing good. No, 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 don't do that. That is right, that is wrong. So this journey was little disturbing to me कि ये हो क्या रहा है. मतलब कुछ लोग हमेशा डिसाइड करेंगे कि ये सही है, ये गलत है, और जिनके लिए हम डिसाइड करते हैं सही गलत है, वो भी वैसे ही करने लगते हैं जैसे हम सोचते हैं. So that dependency actually completely dominated the ideation process, thought process. And I think I realized quite early, but then I had never been into a position to take decision to bring changes, which currently I am trying to do. May I request someone to mute the.
Mr. Arham, I'm so sorry to say, actually, your voice is audible to everyone. Can you please mute? Thank you so much. Yes, sir. Please continue. Sir, you are on mute. You are on mute.
Sorry, am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
So then from APJ to Vishwabharati, journey continued, then DPS Indirapuram. And then I realized that the time has come when I should start taking onus now. And rather than criticizing the things around, I might also be sailing on the same boat. So let's take onus and try to bring certain changes which are going to be effectively, trying to affect the things which are actually bothering me. That is where I left the teaching job and I chose the principalship. And IPS Bagpat was my first school where I brought a lot of changes. I'm so happy and proud to say that even after 10, 12 years of I left that school, still the school is doing pretty well. And then Nutan Vidya Mandir. And today, in this school, I'm trying to now, allow children to think independently. I'm trying to align my teachers to work independently and to ideate and to do error, because to err is human, you know and that humanness is missing in the system. We are too much afraid of committing error. गलती ना हो जाए, गलती ना हो जाए, और ज्यादातर लोग वही गलतियां कर देते हैं जो यही सोचते रहते हैं, गलती ना हो जाए, गलती ना हो जाए। तो गलती जब होनी ही है, हम सब जानते हैं सबसे होती, तो क्यों ना गलती को सहज बनाए, इजी, यू नो so that is how the things are going very well. In fact, I'm so happy that हमारे यहाँ आइसर स्कूल में अभी गलती करके कोई घबराता नहीं है। गलती गलती करके सब सीना चौड़ा करके कहते हैं कि हाँ गलती हो गई, क्योंकि जिसको कहते हैं उससे भी गलती हो जाती है। और सब लोग ये चीज लर्न कर रहे हैं कि ठीक है, मान लिया गलती हो गई, अब आगे बताओ आगे क्या। तो वही व्यक्ति जो गलती करता है, अगर वही व्यक्ति यह बता ले कि आगे हमें पता है कि उस चीज को रेक्टिफाई कैसे करते हैं, सही कैसे करते हैं, नेक्स्ट टाइम देखना हम सही करके दिखाएंगे, दिस इज एग्जैक्टली व्हाट द इंडिपेंडेंट थिंकिंग एंड इंडिपेंडेंट लर्निंग इज गोइंग टू प्रमोट इन सोसाइटी।
Then I should say, sir, सभी को आइसर स्कूल में एडमिशन लेना चाहिए, एटलीस्ट गलती करने पे एक पनिशमेंट नहीं है। मतलब वहां लोगों को सीखने को मिल रहा है, एक डर नहीं है कि अगर मुझसे गलती हो गई तो क्या। मतलब सबको एक कॉन्फिडेंस है, गलती हो गई तो उसका कोई ना कोई सॉल्यूशन भी हम लोगों को मिल जाएगा।
वैसे
क्योंकि ये
एडमिशन,
बात आपकी बिल्कुल सही है कि अगर गलती करते हो तभी आप सीखते हो।
हाँ एडमिशन है हमारे यहाँ, एडमिशन ओपन है। तो जो एडमिशन लेना चाहे आ सकते हैं, ऐसी कोई बात नहीं। बट हाँ, यस, मोर देन गेटिंग एडमिशंस, आई थिंक आइसराइट्स और वी ऑल we will be trying to just inculcate the value system which we are trying to do. It's a 30-year-old organization, and this is doing fantastically well in Faridabad and Alwar and Parwanu, because we have 3 branches actually.
ऑलराइट। मतलब कहते हैं कि टीचर्स बहुत स्ट्रिक्ट होते हैं, आप टीचर्स के साथ खुल के कुछ डिस्कस नहीं कर सकते हो, पता है आगे से तो डंडा आएगा या फिर मार। बट आई शुड से कि आइसर स्कूल में शायद से वो चीज थोड़ी सी लिमिटेड होगी कि वहां के टीचर्स कुछ ज्यादा फ्रेंडली होंगे बच्चों के साथ, कि एटलीस्ट बच्चे सीखें, डरे ना सही बट एटलीस्ट एक फ्रेंड के तौर पे, जैसे आप एक फ्रेंड के साथ अपना कुछ भी कंसर्न चैलेंजेस होते हैं वो आप डिस्कस कर सकते हो। तो शायद
True,
एसर स्कूल
true.
एक ऐसा स्कूल होगा जो बच्चों का एक पर्सपेक्टिव, एक जो इमेज बनी हुई है टीचर्स को लेकर, शायद वो चेंज कर देगा।
True. I'm trying, though it will still take time, because as I told, that's the legacy of 30 year, and मुझे 8-9 महीने ज्वाइन किए हुआ, तो 9 महीने के हिसाब से 30 साल की लेगेसी को कंपेयर करते हुए आई एम डूइंग ए फैंटास्टिक जॉब, आई कैन से दैट।
Definitely, sir, definitely. I love that perspective because giving students ownership often unlocks strengths we don't even know they have.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
So now we want to understand the empowering students. Like you have worked a lot on trainings, teachers, and building school culture. What I observed and I learned, and I have checked on your social pages also. In your view, what does true student empowerment look like in today's classroom?
Just give me a minute. Our children under 19 basketball today, they went to perform in a school, and they just reported they have already reached to final. So they were very excited. They wanted to meet me. They were not knowing that I'm in the middle of this webinar. Anyway, so and power and empower. These are the two words we need to understand first what exactly they mean to. So when I say empowerment or powering someone, we just make the system dependent. Suppose I give power, to someone. Whatever power I give, if that get exhausted, someone will look upon again back to me. So I become a reservoir of power, and someone remain hungry of getting power. So the flow maintains. As long as I am powerful, I will keep somebody, giving the power. This is not exactly the meaning of empowerment. Empowerment is a process of maybe giving power once or twice, but then at the same time, realizing that you can generate your own powerhouse. You can be a self sustained power system. And that is something exactly the education system must cater to our kids. Look, as an adult, later on, sooner or later, we all are doing it. It's not that कि एजुकेशन सिस्टम में जो हम लोग निकल रहे हैं आगे चल के अपने जीवन में, हम लोग ऐसा करते नहीं, पर कई बार बहुत देर हो जाता है. कई बार इसलिए देर हो जाता है कि पेरेंट्स तब तक डरते रहते हैं कई बार एम्पावरमेंट में, उनको डर डर के चीजें सिखाते रहते हैं, डर डर के उनको फ्रीडम देते रहते हैं, कहीं कुछ गड़बड़ ना हो जाए, अगेन वही डर. So empowerment actually is a process where I take people together rather than, giving them power or giving them some freedom to do and then having check all the time. So this empowerment actually comes when we believe in onus. We believe in ownership. And that ownership comes again when we actually try to understand that to err is human, and we develop this perception that उससे गलती हो सकती है तो हमसे भी हो सकती है. तो इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि if suppose children are doing error, we should not be always in a race of rectifying that error. We should always be accepting those error. There's a difference between rectifying error and accepting the error. When we accept the error, the child remains same. When we try to rectify the error, the child actually gets little demotivated. Sometimes the child feels that यार हमें क्यों नहीं आता, हम हमेशा गलत क्यों करते हैं, मैडम को तो बहुत आता है, सर को तो बहुत आता है, हमसे गलती हमेशा क्यों होती है. Whereas when we accept the error, then the child realizes that, or any person realizes that कि गलती तो किसी से भी हो सकती है. So empowering means we actually should not do all the work ourselves, even if we are capable of. We should never go into micromanagement. We should just allow people to express and do the work, not in perfection, the way they are willing to, the way they are comfortable, and allow them to do error as well. Let them learn, unlearn. Don't judge them. If at all you want to help them, then do one thing. If suppose they commit an error and they feel dejected, do not try to bring the correct version of that. Celebrate that error. Let's have a breakup song all the time. I generally call breakup song. मेरे जमाने में ब्रेकअप होने पर लोग बहुत चिल्लाते, बहुत रोते होते थे कि हाय राम ये क्या हो गया. फिर जब मैं धीरे धीरे बड़ा हुआ तो मैंने सुना ये तो ब्रेकअप सॉन्ग आया हुआ है. तो मैंने कहा ये सॉन्ग क्या है, बच्चे से अपने पूछा तो बोला अरे आपको नहीं पता. मेरा बड़ा बेटा बोलता है. मैंने कहा हाँ बेटा क्या है. बोला कि जब ब्रेकअप हो जाता है ना तो इस सॉन्ग को गाते हैं. मैंने कहा अच्छा ब्रेकअप पे सॉन्ग भी गाते हैं. तो this breakup song actually dilutes the pain of the breakup and just makes us realize that so what if there is a breakup, we can have another relationship. We can just move on. You never know that what is next waiting for you. So that is going to take realize the child or the adults both. Let me add on here. हम कई बार सोचते हैं कि बच्चे ही गलती करते हैं. ट्रस्ट मी, बड़े बच्चों से ज्यादा गलती करते हैं. वो तो बड़े हो जाते हैं ना, इसलिए उनको टोकने वाले कम है. और जो टोकने वाले हैं भी, वो कई बार इस एज के उस पड़ाव पर पहुंच जाते हैं कि वो सोचते हैं अपनी छीछा लेदर कौन कराए, चुपचाप बैठे रहते हैं, कहते ठीक है यार, सही भी सही गलत भी सही. बहुत कम ऐसे मम्मी पापा हैं जो इतनी हिम्मत जुटा पाते हैं कि जब उनका बच्चा इंडिपेंडेंट हो जाता है और कमाने लगता है तो उनकी गलती को वो टोकने की हिम्मत करते हैं. वरना अगर वो टोकने पे आए तो लिस्ट बनाया जाए. अगर आज के डेट में किसी के भी घर में आप अप्लाई कर लेना, यू विल फाइंड दिस ट्रुथ. हमने तो अप्लाई कर रखा है, इसलिए मैं शेयर कर रहा हूं. आज के डेट में लिस्ट बने अगर सुबह से शाम तक गलतियां करने वालों की घरों में, तो अगर 5 गलती बच्चा कर रहा है तो 15 गलती बड़े कर रहे होंगे. लो कर लो बात. So this is very interesting, and that is why celebrating error, allowing people to work together in collaboration, not judging them, allowing them to ideate, and promoting errors and making a fearless environment around, these are the things which promote empowerment as well as the independent thinking. And naturally, I will talk about citizenship little later. Slowly and slowly, when you build up a school and the colleges on these principles, this is exactly what citizenship is all about.
Exactly, sir. I mean, I should say कि आपकी बातों से नहीं लगता कि आप पुराने जमाने के प्रिंसिपल हैं, जिस हिसाब से आपको गानों की नॉलेज भी है. तो अभी हम लोग इस सेशन को यहीं पे रोकते हैं, 2 मिनट का ब्रेक लेंगे. उसके बाद वी विल गेट बैक. प्लीज कोई भी कहीं मत जाइएगा. आप अपने कैमराज ऑफ कर सकते हैं. हम दोबारा से इस लिंक को ज्वाइन करेंगे एंड फिर हम सेकंड पार्ट में सर से इतने सारे क्वेश्चंस हैं जिनके बारे में वी वांट टू नो, क्योंकि सर की जिस तरीके से अभी जर्नी चल रही है ना, वो बहुत ही ज्यादा इंजॉयबल और एक्साइटिंग लग रही है. सो वी डोंट वांट टू मिस द पार्ट 2 चांस. वी डेफिनेटली वांट टू अंडरस्टैंड कि आगे और क्या क्या है. सो ऐसे हमारे पास बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस हैं जो आप लोगों को बहुत इंजॉयबल लगेंगे और जिनका आंसर्स सर बहुत अच्छे जैसे अभी प्यारे तरीके से दे रहे हैं कि लोगों का एक मनोरंजन बना रहे. सो वही आगे कंटिन्यू रहेगा. सो मिलते हैं 2 मिनट के ब्रेक के बाद.
थैंक यू. थैंक यू.